America really likes using that name, and that's a thing that other countries really like to make fun of the US for, is not calling it football. You're all very smart, and you know the actual history of the name. It's as English as the Queen and classism. See, football used to be a whole genre of sports, including games like rugby football, which, extra fun fact, is actually named after a school. But when it was formally written down and the rules were codified, it was called association football. As the rules were getting formalized, what we know today as football or soccer was generally called association soccer, and rugby was called rugby. And at the same time, Oxford was doing something strange. They really liked putting ER at the end of every word. So a rugby player would be called a rugger. An association player would be called an associator, associator. It was a little bit confused. But Oxford had to keep that really, really funny joke going, so they kind of dropped the A and we got soccer. Now, how does this translate to the US? Now, over in America, a separate game had been developing, which was mixing the rules of both association and rugby together. And this has become known as gridiron football, which is so much cooler a name, and I wish we had stuck with that. American football culture mostly comes from colleges. The first few truly modern games like Rutgers versus Princeton or Harvard versus McGill, which established the culture, this was all collegiate play. So these were college people, they would have been familiar with the college lifestyle, and they would have heard the name soccer, and that's just how it stuck. Yet here's the thing, the word soccer is not exclusively used by Americans, at least according to Encyclopedia Britannica, which is my main source for this video. See, both Ireland, which has Celtic football, and Australia, which has Australian rules football, the name soccer has more cachet. And that's the thing. Will always be a genre of sport. And many countries have their own variation of the game. So is it a little ridiculous that we call this football? Of course it is, because gridiron is such a cool name. Why don't we just call it that?